those who are perpetrating these criminal activities across the country, but those who are involved in Boko Haram activities, ISWAP activities, bandits in parts of the north and western Nigeria. And in a way, in order to address this issue, if the military operation in the northeast and northwest and parts of north central are able to capture some of these their leaders alive, it might help us to address the issue of insecurity, because if they capture them alive, they are able to interrogate them, they are able to point to some others who are involved and how to track them down. Now, the kidnapping has happened, the two children are in the kidnappers' den, and some of them have been killed together with their teachers. But then, what is the government doing? Dispatching emissaries to Oyo State. But they need to activate security measures. It's just like what Buratai said just yesterday, that if security operatives want to track down these criminals, that they know their hideout, and they can use GPS location, the phone numbers, and of course, whatever internet facility tracking measures that they have to crack down on this issue. So I think the government has failed here, and they must do everything humanly possible to rescue those children and ensure the total provision of security around school facilities and infrastructure across the country. Yeah, I think it is a shame, Mike, I must say, for the Senate president to say that senators who lost their primaries on the party's platform, that they are working out measures to bring them to the Senate. It is not their birthright. Those who have lost means they have lost. Those who have won, they are also Nigerians that deserve to be in the Senate and represent the people that have asked them to be there.
The adoption of dozens of pupils and teachers from schools in Oriri, local government area of Oyo State, has sparked widespread outrage across the country, prompting condemnation from the Senate and lead to coordinated nationwide protests by teachers and renewed call by lawmakers for comprehensive reforms to the Nigerian security architecture. Now, the protests took place in the Federal Capital Territory, Edo State, Rivers, Cross River, Benue, Adamawa, Taraba, Anambra, Akwa Ibom, Abia, Osun, Lagos, Niger, and several other states. The nationwide reaction comes as the Senate resumed plenary on Tuesday after the Salah recess and observed a minute silence in honor of 2 teachers and a pupil killed in connection with the attack. Senate President Godswill Akpabio and the Speaker of the House of Representatives Tajuddin Abbas all condemned the attack, saying more needs to be done to protect the children. Now, the incident, which occurred on May 15, saw armed men storm 3 schools in Ahoro, Esili, and Yawota communities of Irere local government area, adopting pupils and teachers and plunging families into weeks of anguish. The attack has become one of the most significant school adoptions in recent years, revealing and also reviving painful memories of the Chibok and Dapchip kidnappings and raising fresh concerns about the safety of schools across the country. While in Abuja, the House of Representatives called on the federal government and security agents to immediately secure the release of the 42 school children adopted from Musa Ward in Ashikra, Umba local government area of Borno State. The House said it was concerned that the recurring attacks on schools and community continue to threaten access to education, endanger lives, traumatize families, disrupt livelihoods, and also undermine public confidence in the capacity of government to guarantee safety. Now, apart from the rhetorics of condemnation and call on government to do more, the question remains, what will all of this end, or when will all of this end, and how can our leaders learn, and I mean learn, to govern well? And are we Nigerians really ready to make that right choice of person, especially as they tend to lead us? Well, knowing that indeed we're already in the election period, and even how matured our political class to ensure that they do not descend into more crisis of violence on account of the election. Well, these and more will take center stage as we look at all of these issues confronting the nation. And today, we'll be looking critically at the state of the nation. That's what we'll be having as a major discourse today on the show. We'll be looking critically at the state of the nation as we look at us grappling with insecurity, grappling with political violence, and a whole lot as it concerns this great nation, the most populous black nation on the planet Earth. But anyway, to help us look at this, we have no other person than Dr. Fyneface, Dumnamene Fyneface. You do know he's the Executive Director of Youth and Environmental Advocacy Center and the Rivers State Coordinator of Sustainable Development Goals for the United Nations. And indeed, he'll be talking about this great nation. And he's joining us all the way from Port Harcourt. Dr. Fyneface, Dumnamene Fyneface, good day and welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, Mike. Nice to be part of the program this morning.
Well, anyway, I doubt if the families of those kidnapped children will be in a nice state as we talk, or rather look at the issues confronting the nation itself. But Dr. Fyneface, I want us to start first with the protests that have erupted on account of the adoption of the 42 pupils and others that happened in Borno also. Now, let's look at it critically. Do you call these a failure on the part of governance? Do you feel that the government has failed in all entirety, or do you feel this is more like politicking and some people are just out there to make cheap political points? What's your reaction to this?
Yeah, Mike, I think we must start from the part of government, because the primary responsibility of government is to protect life and property. And if the government has failed to protect life and property, then you have these kind of things happening. We've been talking about the need for government to provide security around schools for a very long time. Although steps have been taken in a way when the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps was commissioned to provide security around schools across the country. But then we hardly see them in schools doing that job. And this is now happening in 2026, about how many years after we had the Chibok school girls kidnapping, that to date, most of them are yet back home after the incident in 2014. So I think the situation here is terrible. We have to blame the government for failing to provide security. Now the kidnapping has happened. The school children are in the kidnappers' den, and some of them have been killed together with their teachers. But then, what is the government doing? Dispatching MS3s to Oyo State. But they need to activate security measures. It's just like what Buratai said just yesterday, that if security operatives want to track down these criminals, that they know their hideout, and they can use GPS location, the phone numbers, and of course, whatever internet facility tracking measures that they have to crack down on this. So I think the government has failed here, and they must do everything humanly possible to rescue those children and ensure the total provision of security around school facilities and infrastructure across the country.
Dr. Fyneface, I would really want us to look at this present situation. Now, talking about these terrorists that indeed are holding forth to the children, excuse me, there is this belief, especially with our own investigation on Dialogue, that this is the handwork of Boko Haram and not the normal bandits. If you remember, they used to have a branch right there at the forest in Kwara and Kogi, and you do know that even the Oyo National Park, which is also where these people are being held, is an easy transit for that of Kogi and Kwara. And not only that, the operation mode of these terrorists, not wanting to talk to the families on account of money, but rather talking to the federal government directly, is also signifying the fact that this is the handwork of either ISWAP or Boko Haram. Now, let's look at that very ideology, knowing that just recently, their second in command of ISIS was killed right here in Nigeria. Now, do you feel the military should have taken more steps, knowing that there will be retaliatory steps, especially as it concerns the killing of the second in command of ISIS? And do you feel the military or the reaction from government is coming too little, too late, looking at what they are doing now in a bid to rescue the children?
Yeah, Mike, I think the issue here is that those who are perpetrating these criminal activities across the country, but those who are involved in Boko Haram activities, ISWAP activities, bandits in parts of the north and western Nigeria. And we are all aware of how they have spread as a result of the crackdown on them in the theater of war in the northeast, northwest, and north central. Now, as a result of this, I think that they are spreading across the country and causing havoc. And in a way, in order to address this issue, if the military operation in the northeast and northwest and parts of north central are able to capture some of these their leaders alive, it might help us to address the issue of insecurity, because if they capture them alive, they are able to interrogate them, they are able to point to some others who are involved and how to track them down. I believe it will help to also address the issue. But a situation whereby you have summary execution, especially when they have opportunity to capture and interrogate those who are involved in this, then you continue to have this situation spreading. Generally speaking, I think that government, the military will have to step up their operations, crack down on these people. It is not a rocket science that they can fight insecurity. It is possible. Like a statement that was attributed to the lead president of Nigeria, Sani Abacha, that any action or any insecurity issue that lasts beyond 4 hours that is done is inside. One is now that is it that government hands in the insecurity across the country, because certain persons with government circles may have camouflaged the current insecurity issue we have across the country in their own oil fields, oil wells, where they are making money from. Therefore, they do not want it to stop. They continue to ensure that one way or the other, these issues begin to spring up in other parts of the country. So I think they need to take steps to understand that those who are being displaced from the theater of war in the northern Nigeria are spreading and moving across the country and causing insecurity issues. We've seen a lot of that in Rivers State. We've seen it a lot in other parts of the country, other parts of the Niger Delta and the South. So I think the DSS will need to step up to gather intelligence. The police will need to step up to gather intelligence. The army must also be authorized to crack down on them while respecting issues relating to human rights. But the point here remains that all the people that are causing this are those that have been displaced from the theater of war in the north, and they must take steps to ensure that they track them across the country.
Now, Dr. Fyneface, I know during after the Chibok and the Dapchi school adoptions, in 2014, the Safe School Initiative was in every way initiated. And I know that also you were a major part of all of this Safe School Initiative as you worked with the United Nations. Now, my question is, why have we not really queued in on that Safe School Initiative to better protect our schools? Why are we still, after 12 years, we are still grappling with the issue of children being kidnapped on account of these schools not truly safe? So let's understand, is it a lack of consistency as it concerns that very program, or you feel the program itself was just destined to fail? Let's really understand why that Safe School program have not indeed yielded the result it should, especially 12 years after.
Yeah, I think the Safe School Initiative that was launched after the Chibok and the Dapchi school girls kidnapping is not effective, and it has never been effective. And it was launched and not managed in such a way that it can be sustainable. Because it is not sustainable, it has not been able to address the issue for which it was set up to achieve. And that is why the Safe School Initiative is not working. Because if the Safe School Initiative was working, it would have been difficult for terrorists and bandits to still walk into schools and take children away, kidnap children away. So it's not effective. So I think we need to re-strategize, refocus the program, properly fund the program, and make it to be more civilian based in such a way that civilians will work with security operatives to gather intelligence and ensure that real-time information is shared. Because one will wonder how multiple school children will be kidnapped from a particular point, transported safely away, and they are unable to know. So more police stations will also be established around school facilities across the country. And they should also be properly equipped with CCTV cameras that are operational using solar systems that are now available and can provide 24 hours electricity for them to do that. These technologies should be employed so that we can be able to fight what is currently happening, because it doesn't tell well that students that have gone to school, leaving their parents and left their parents and went to school, can't return home because of insecurity. So the Safe School Initiative is properly, revived, and then it will be domesticated in each state of the federation, not centrally managed, so that people can be properly deployed, security can be properly deployed around school facilities. And every school in the country should build a large security house within the premises of the school, where security operatives can stay. It should be a story building, or even a two-story building with a penthouse at the top, where someone will stay with camera to watch over the school. Every school should put this initiative together, and I think it's going to help us mitigate the impact of insecurity on our school system.
Dr. Fyneface, let's remember the Safe School Initiative, because that's the only initiative that I feel we have in every way formed to deal with these issues of having our school safe. Now, there's this feeling that it would have even naturally failed, because there's no way you can have a restricted area for schools to be, for them all to be safe. If we have almost thousands and thousands of schools spread around the country. And even if you have them in one centralized area, as the Safe School Initiative will be, it might even be more of an easy target, knowing that all the children will be in one particular area. So let's look at it. Do you feel, apart from all you've said, yes, we need to have CCTV, we need to do more, schools have to come on board. Do you feel there's any other way again that we can better protect these children rather than the Safe School Initiative?
Yeah, I think there are other ways we can do it, but the Safe School Initiative should be the one at the forefront of that. Another way is to have community vigilantes drafted around schools within their community areas to gather intelligence, support the conventional security operatives under the Safe School Initiative to fight insecurity in schools. That's also recommended that they build a penthouse type of a building, like 2-story, penthouse that is very high. People can stay up there, watch over the entire school. Security can stay up there. And then they should also use that facility to erect CCTV cameras around the schools. Not just ordinary CCTV cameras. CCTV cameras that can see beyond the body system, that can see beyond your clothes. CCTV cameras that when it scans you, your entire flesh, clothes and flesh goes out. It is only your skeleton and anything iron you are carrying under it that will show on the camera. We use this at air. We can deploy them in schools as well. So I think they should put some of these measures together and then establish police stations around school facilities. And I think that if we are able to coordinate security, share information, gather intelligence, this organized crime of kidnapping that we are having in schools will be minimized. I am not saying that it will be eliminated, because in a way, you cannot eliminate anything that has to do with insecurity, but it can be minimized to the barest minimum.
They remain with the issue of terrorism and kidnapping and banditry. Now, while many were surprised that Oyo is now the epicenter of having children being adopted, and it looks as if the bandits or the terrorists seem to be walking down to the south via the southwest. Now, are you really concerned that they might indeed, after this adoption, have that confidence of even moving down inroad into the south and southeast if something is not done? Do you see them as indeed wanting to conquer the whole country on account of their recent move, not from just the northwest, northeast, north central, now into the southwest and creeping down into the south?
Yeah, definitely. The way the insecurity is spreading, I think they are trying to capture the system. And the way it has gone so far, spreading everywhere, is something that we should be concerned about. In the south side that used to be peaceful is where they are now finding as their safe haven, where they are coming to cause insecurity and threaten the lives of people, especially school children. So I think that if government properly tackles this, they come out to say that we are now ready. This is the time for them to even bring on board the issue of state police that they talked about before. And I think the National Assembly is also trying to revive this as a result of this incident. So we need to really be able to see how to mitigate and tackle this issue of these people spreading. And the customs, they also need to come into play here, because it has been found out that some of the people that are even causing this issue for the country are not Nigerians. Some of them are coming from outside the country. So that operation and that work is there. So intelligence guys will be very serious so that we can be able to tackle this and minimize it across the country.
Now, Dr. Fyneface, Dumnamene Fyneface. Now, one major talking point yesterday when the Senate and the House of Representatives ended their salary recess was the issue of pushing for state police bill to be pushed through so that it will now become law and also start to be in action. Now, let's look at the issue of state police. Do you feel state police would in every way help? Like you said, criminality can never be eradicated, but be best minimized. Do you feel state police will be the answer? And if yes, how can we structure the state police so it cannot be abused by state governors who will use this as an expenditure to attack the opposition in their states?
Yeah, state police should be approved, and it should be structured in such a way that they don't operate independently, but work with the Nigerian police and other security formations in the execution of their duties. They should also play the role that has to do with gathering of intelligence. This should be the major role they should play. And they should be provided with gadgets, technological gadgets that will enable them to share information real time to a control room where they will be monitored and used. And where their power ends is where the power of the Nigerian police will begin. If they are able to structure Nigeria, the state police in such a way that from community level, they're able to gather information through neighborhood watch, share with the state police officers who will now simplify it based on their higher training, and then share with the Nigerian Nigerian Civil and Civil Defense Corps, and of course the police. I believe it will go a long way to really be able to make the federal police to be very, very effective. And that should be done almost immediately ahead of the 2027 general election, because in a way, before you know, people will start interpreting the kidnapping of school children and other security threats to the fact that they are trying to oust a particular president or a particular governor. That is why you have the upsurge in security issue. So what the House of Reps have now started looking at, the state police issue, is very important. And they shouldn't be waiting until something like this happens before they make their laws. It is their responsibility to make laws for the good governance of this country. And they shouldn't keep waiting until there is an outcry like we currently have before they take action to address the issue.
With the issue of politics, especially as it concerns insecurity, former governor of Rivers State, which is your state, Nyesom Wike, had a lot to talk about as it concerns insecurity and the present situation we are in and politics. And not only that, Godswill Akpabio, the Senate president, also had a major say as it concerns not politicizing the insecurity that we seem to have in the country. Now, we can never separate politics from insecurity. That seems to be the case. I could still remember what also Ayodele Fayose said about Seyi Makinde just a day before yesterday on account of this adoption. Now, do you feel it's fair that our political class would indeed be dragging insecurity into normal political discourse? And is it helpful in any way that we are now politicizing insecurity rather than taking it as a bold step and as a collective effort to deal with? Let's look at politics and politicizing this issue of adoptions and how that seems to be a danger, especially as it concerns the nation itself.
I think anybody saying that insecurity should not be dragged into politics is not really doing us good or saying the truth. Because you cannot divorce security from politics. Because the essence of politics, holding power, maintaining political power, being in governance, is to provide security of lives and property to the people. So they go pari passu. Security and politics go pari passu. And nobody should say that anybody is politicizing insecurity, because if they have done the needful by ensuring that ugly heads of insecurity don't spring up, and I think nobody would have come forward to try to talk about the government in power and how they are failing to provide security for the people. So the issue here remains that if they are able to provide security for the people, nobody will talk about politics and linking with insecurity. Or it is the failure of government to do so that is making people to look at the nexus between insecurity and politics. So they can't really divorce it from politics. As we go ahead in the election we are planning now, I think it is important for them to address this issue, because they cannot be able to boldly campaign that they are going to come back or they are going to take office those who are coming afresh when they are unable to talk about the issue of insecurity and addressing insecurity. If the way Right Honorable Chidike Amechi, as the former governor of Rivers State, have tackled insecurity here in Rivers State at the time by going after the criminals in their den, is the way the federal government has really been doing. I think some of the issues would have been mitigated. But a situation whereby they say they are repentant Boko Haram, repentant bandits and all of that, and they embrace them in, they are sharing information that are being used to, crack down on the people. So I think they need to really be able to go top on insecurity and ensure that the root cause of the insecurity is addressed.
Okay, well, anyways, in case you're joining us, it's still Dialogue, and today we're looking at the state of the nation. Like I said, we still have no other person but Dr. Fyneface, Dumnamene Fyneface, joining us all the way from Port Harcourt in Rivers State. Let's look at another major issue which seems to be taking center stage and which we talked a bit briefly, which you say we cannot devoid away from insecurity itself, and that's the issue of politics. You do understand that we're now in the political space, and indeed the circle have just started. And it looks as if there seems to be heating up of the policy, especially as concerned politics in the country. Now, Dr. Fyneface, recently there was a leak of INEC database that has indeed also raised a whole lot of security concern. Information reaching us just this morning is that the DSS is also being put in to help discover who leaked it. And if you remember, Emeka Ike, the Nollywood actor, brought all of this to our very notice on account of the database of INEC being released. Now, let's look at that and how that will definitely affect the 2027 general elections. Do you feel it's a major breach on the part of INEC? And do you see INEC being compromised on account of this?
Yeah, I think the beginning of the reading of the 2027 election has just started with, what we have discovered involving the Win case and Edo breaking into the INEC, server to extract information and share about the maker case. And I think the whole process is currently compromised already. As important as the database of INEC relating to voter registration, a mere aide that has no immunity has allegedly broken into the system, extracted information and all of that. That is to say, they have a clone system of every INEC data. And some people are saying that INEC is an arm of the APC. This is not true to the best of my knowledge, but I know quite well that INEC must do everything humanly possible to prove to the Nigerian people that it is independent and that it is working in such a way that its activities and offices have not been infiltrated. Because with this kind of system that you have, it is difficult to just believe that an aide to the SDG minister was able to extract all of this information without any, being caused and any operation around that. But I think that they have compromised. And this way they have compromised is the beginning of the regional 2027 election. And we must take steps to ensure that this doesn't happen.
Anyway, let's still remain with the issue of politics. And I want us to go to another major critical one that seems to be taking center page, and it's just the just concluded primaries. Yes, we've not heard much from the NDC as it concerns those that have scaled through, but the APC seems to be having the largest say, because as of today, we do understand that we have over 50 serving federal lawmakers, including ranking senators and House of Rep members, who have lost their re-election bid and tickets to return back to the National Assembly. And not only that, we also know on the APC that there's this say that governors had hijacked the process, hence we are having this serious turmoil that seems to be raging in the APC. So I want your reaction to that very issue. I'm talking about the problem that seems to be brewing in the APC.
Yeah, I think it is a shame, Mike, I must say, for the Senate president to say that senators who lost their primaries on the party's platform, that is they are working as measures to bring them to the Senate. It is not their birthright. Those who have lost means they have lost. Those who have won, they are also Nigerians that deserve to be in the Senate and represent the people that have asked them to be there. So I think it is a shame for him to have said that. We knew and still remember how he lost to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and then he still went back and took the senatorial seat. That's the same card to play here. And I think it requires something. We're all going to see. Because I don't know why Nigerians seen as more important than others. They're making that people have response like a reaction like or whatever. You begin to see them, put things the way they are putting things. So I think it's a shame, and the Senate president should retract that statement, and they should allow those who have lost the election to go their way, while those who have won the primary to be given opportunity to also represent the people that have trusted them at the Senate and other levels of government.
Well, let's now come back to the larger scale. You agree with me that we just have some couple of months before the general elections, and it looks as if things are beginning to shape up or taking shape. Like what I mean is, let's look at that of the presidency, which is also a major one. The APC is still retaining no other person but President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We have that of the PDP, which seems to be we're having that of Goodluck Jonathan coming, and O2 of the YEAC camp also a part of it. If you look of that of the ADC, yes, they still have rancor, but Atiku Abubakar, the former vice president, is definitely going to hitch on there. Rabiu Kwankwaso with his principal, I'm talking of Peter Obi, will be that of the NDC. And when it comes to the APM-PDP alliance, Seyi Makinde is there. But when we also look at others, the SDP, Adebayo is there. The AA, we do know that Hassam has come in, as much as that of Shore also taking place. Now, are we going to have a really keen contest as it concerns the presidency come next year? Or do you feel it's just going to go the way of the APC, knowing that they are the ruling party? Or are we going to have more contest than it was in 2023 when we have the Labour, PDP, and the APC slugging it out as a three-horse race?
Yeah, Mike, to me, I think the various division, the multiple candidates on the part of the opposition is even weakening the entire system in favor of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The various political parties are floating different candidates. I think they are about 13, 14, 16, or 17 now. And I think this is not very good when you want to wrestle power from someone that has so much money, someone that has so much structure through his party, someone that has so many people that believe in him across the country. And you want to unseat him, you have to go extra mile to getting that done. So I think it's unfortunate that, they have balkanized themselves the way they have done as opposition political parties and then trying to face a single man working for all of them. So I think they need to really be able to harmonize their houses, drop their individual political ambitions, and then pick one person, build force around that person, and see if anything can change. Now we learn former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan is coming into the mix. So all of these put together is going to contribute to the situation that we have at hand.
Now, Dr. Fyneface, Dumnamene Fyneface, time is not a friend, but I feel it will be unwise and quite really not good if we do not talk about what is happening in Rivers State, where you are from. And let's talk about the issue of Fubara not coming back. And not only that, but Kingsley Chida picking the ticket for the APC. We got information yesterday that he has finally resigned as the minority leader on his push to be governor of Rivers State. So let's look at it. We do know YEAC is the strong man there, and funny enough, he's the PDP man, but he's having a strong say on who becomes governor there in Rivers State with his rebel coalition. Now, let's look at what is happening in Rivers at the moment. Give us a rundown of the political climate that seems to be happening in Rivers and where the pendulum will finally sway come next year.
Yeah, the situation in Rivers State is very interesting. The politics is very interesting, but somehow also like challenging because the FCT minister has held sway for a very long time, and he is directly in control of who gets what, how, and when in Rivers State. We planted, OK Chinda in the APC to pick the ticket, and he has picked the ticket. We also planted someone else in the PDP who has also picked the ticket. And in other political parties, ANC or thereabout, he has done all of those, believing that if one doesn't work, the other one is going to work. Because he knew of some issues that were there, especially the court judgment that was given from a appeal 2 days ago, sacking the Tony Okocha-led APC and declaring that all action taken under his leadership are null and void, which greatly affected, the OK team that does, resign on the platform. I mean, defected on the platform of the in the National Assembly yesterday on the PDP to the APC. Not after he has took the APC ticket and become APC presidential, a governorship candidate in Rivers State. So all of this put together is making the challenging, the landscape, political landscape in Rivers State very challenging. Because now with the court judgment from appeal court against the APC, favoring Emeka Beke, who was one of the personal and court-recognized, legally recognized chairman of the APC in Rivers State, I think more interesting days are ahead. And that is why you see the FCT minister now speaking from another side of his mouth during the media chat to say that, the coalition members, the Rainbow Coalition, are going to pick who becomes the governorship candidate. Because he knows quite well that the court judgment was coming, and if he is not in their favor, how are they going to interpret it? So all of this put together is something that I think is making Rivers State interesting in the days ahead. Other political parties like the NDC have picked Dumolulu Briggs, and then the ADC have picked Gabriel Fidomsin, and other platforms. We have many different political parties, and ROPM have also picked one other nature. All of them are just coming forward. But the point here remains that the main decision of who occupies the brick house lies with the structure of the FCT minister, which holds sway as the godfather of Rivers State today.
Any rumor of where Fubara is at the moment politically in the state? Do you feel his time has come and gone? Because we do know his brother is also pushing to be governorship candidate under the NDC. Do you see him pitching tent with his brother and trying to challenge YEAC and his Rainbow Coalition? Or do you feel, like he said, his time is gone and he might just disappear from the scene in total?
Yeah, Sikubara is just waiting for May 29 to leave office. He has nothing else to do. You can't go on any political platform and get tickets and then try to be governor. He cannot become. Like the FCT minister says, that whoever he endorses in Rivers State will become governor. That means whoever he doesn't endorse cannot become governor. Sikubara, according to their clandestine agreement, signed to go for second tenure in exchange for him not being impeached. And that happened, and he has thrown in the power after attempting to be seen and coming in. So as it is, he's just waiting for May 29, 2027 to come for him to leave office. And he has declared support for the APC in Rivers State. And to the support he has declared for the APC in Rivers State is a clear indication that he has thrown in the power and just waiting for the governorship election to come, and whoever wins, not whoever wins, but when the APC throws up their candidate to the coalition support, then he will just hand over to that person and then go underground to start his private life or get appointed into federal ministry as a company minister. That's some of the things that can happen. They may have declared all of this behind the scenes. So as it is today, the governor of Rivers is just waiting for time to leave office.
Well, anyway, I feel it's also time for us to leave and indeed give you more time to deal with some of the issues that you're really handling at the moment. But all the same, we want to thank you so much. And we're talking of no other person but Dr. Fyneface, Dumnamene Fyneface. You do know he's the Executive Director of Youth and Environmental Advocacy Center and the Rivers State Coordinator of the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations, and also a political analyst. Thank you so much, Dr. Fyneface, for joining us all the way from Port Harcourt. Thank you for your time with us.
Thank you for having me. Good morning to you all.
Well, indeed, it's more like a wrap on the show today. And while we've had a major one as it concerns the state of the nation, we critically look at insecurity and what needs to be done to make our children look more safe. And not only that, but also the political climate in the country and how it is shaping out, especially as it concerns the ruling party, the APC. And not only that, but what is happening in Rivers State at the moment with no other but the FCT minister who is sway as who will definitely be governor come 2027. And it looks as if he has all the cards in his hands. Well, anyway, we do not have all the time in the world. Like I said, let's see if you drop your comments on our different social media platforms. We truly appreciate them as they come. They're funny enough, they're already there on your screen. So let's see how much of input you have, especially as it concerns keeping our children safe. And not only that, but the political climate in the country. I would truly appreciate your comments, reaction, and contribution, especially as it concerns this topic. You do know on Dialogue, we always talk. It never ends. But anyway, we need to end this very edition. I will definitely go on a quick break, and you do know the news will take center stage next, right here on Viewpoint on Atlantic TV.